All right, guys, so today we are going to learn how to draw angles using a protractor, whereas yesterday we learned how to measure angles that had already been drawn for us. So this should be pretty easy if you caught on to yesterday's lesson easily. So let's go ahead and get started. So your teacher has linked this notebook page here that I have on the left to your assignment today. This is what we would put in our math notebook. Again, if you have a printer and want to print it, you can put it in your math notebook. If not, you have it digitally. So we follow some steps each time that we want to draw an angle. So let's say I have been told to draw angle DEF that measures 47 degrees. Okay, so those are my instructions. Draw angle DEF that measures 47 degrees. So we're going to follow these directions on the left. So my first step is to draw the vertex. So typically what you would be doing is you have a blank piece of paper, you lay your protractor down on that piece of paper, and you're going to use the measurements to draw. Now I have a digital one here, so it's going to be a little different. So my first step, I'm going to draw my vertex, which yesterday we talked about goes in this middle dot here. So there's my vertex. I'm going to draw a point at 0 degrees. So I can decide which 0 degrees I'm going to use. It does not matter. So if I want my angle to open to the left, I can use my 0 degrees here. So I'm going to put my point at 0 degrees, and I'm going to connect the vertex and 0 degrees point to make a ray. Now, typically, I would use the straight edge of my protractor to do this, but because we're digital, we have a little bit of a different setup. So I had my vertex, my 0 degrees, so I'm going to connect those with a straight line to make a ray. Now, notice I reached the edge of my paper, but I went through that dot or my point at 0 degrees, and I'm going to put my arrow to make it a ray. Okay. Step 4 is draw another point at the correct measurement. So remember that I didn't mean to clear this. DEF, and it was 47 degrees. Okay, so when I'm drawing my next ray or my next point at 47 degrees, if I'm starting at 0 on this side, I'm using the numbers on the outside. So I'm counting up from 0, 10, 20, 30. Here's 40. So then here's 45. So 47 is going to be about right here. Okay. So I drew my other point at the correct measurement, step 4. Step 5 is to connect the vertex and the new point. So I would typically use the straight edge of my protractor to make this a straight ray. Ooh, that was pretty good. And I go through my point and put my arrow at the end to indicate that it's a ray. And then step 6, label the points and the measurement. So my angle is DEF. So I would, at this point, take up my protractor. My protractor would no longer be on my paper, but I don't have that option digitally. So I'm going to label D, E, F. And then I also need to label the measurement. And the way we label the measurement, which you have probably seen this before, is we put an arc or an arch there in the angle, and I label 47 degrees. Okay? Simple as that. So let's do another one. So I want to do angle LMN, and I want it to measure 165 degrees. Okay? So let's draw that. So first step, I draw my vertex. So put my vertex. I'm going to draw a point at 0 degrees. So again, I can either use this 0 or this 0. It does not matter. I am going to use this one. So I'm going to put my point here. If I'm using my inside numbers, I like to put my point on the inside because I think it's more accurate. And actually, my point should be right at 0. Right at 0. Okay, now I'm going to connect the vertex and the 0 with a ray. I'm going to go through it. And again, I would take my protractor up, use the straight edge to draw my ray, replace my protractor. I'm going to draw another point at the correct measurement. So I'm measuring 165 degrees. I start at 0, so I need to count up from 0. So 0, 10, 20. I'm going to go all the way around. I'm going to find 160. So here's 160, and I need to go to 165. So that's going to be halfway between 160 and 170 degrees. Now I'm going to connect the vertex and the new point, again, using usually the straight edge of my protractor. And now I'm going to label my points. So my angle is LMN, so I need to label that L, M, N. And I need to label the measurement. So I'm going to do my arc or arch and write 165 degrees. Okay, now if you decided to do this same angle LMN, 165 degrees, but you wanted to use the 0 on this side, we just do the same thing. We're just using a different set of numbers on my protractor. So I marked my vertex, I mark my 0, I connect my points, making it a ray. I draw another point at 165, so now I'm using the outside numbers. So I count up from 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, all the way over to 160. 165 is going to be right in between 160 and 170. I connect my points, making another ray. I label my points L, M, N, and label my measurement, 165 degrees. So it's the same angle, just opening up a different direction.